All right, we are live on Facebook.
Hello, guys.
I am here today with Dr. Alex, and we're going to be talking about periods today. So, I'm really excited to have you guys join us today because I think this is a very good topic as we have a lot of women that have issues with periods but don't necessarily know what's normal and what's not.
Right.
Yes. So let's talk about it and, kind of give some people some information about what's normal, what's not normal, and kind of how we can fix some of these issues.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'll start off with a question for you guys. What do you guys think it's a normal cycle, right? If you kind of take a reflection back on yourself, you would probably say the normal cycle is 28 days long, right? Well, that's not quite the case. The normal cycle can be anywhere between 21 days to 35 days long. So it's really important that we find out what is our normal cycle. It's not what's Sierra's, what's Alex's, but what is your cycle? Because yours may not be 28 days long. It may be 21, and that's perfectly normal for you. Okay, so that's one thing that I think we need to debunk the myth that all cycles are 28 days long. And then the other one is I think that a cycle is supposed to be pain-free, cramp-free, PMS-free. It should be almost uninterrupted to your life. It's not supposed to be, for example, I used to have to sleep in bed for the first 3 days. Well, that's how horrendous my periods used to be. So to me, that used to be normal. But now that I know more, I know that's not normal. And I would want to teach other women, other girls, that a period that hurts early on, we need to look at why is that happening, because there are some indications there that are telling us perhaps we need to look into your diet, your sleeping pattern, your hydration, your activity levels, all these facets of what it makes to be a healthy human being, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Me personally, when I was a teenager, I started having all of these issues. So I had the heavy bleeding. It was really, really bad. It would take a Super Plus tampon and then a super, overnight pad. And they were so painful and it had all these clots. And I would go to the doctor and they would tell me, you're fine. Everything's normal. Just try birth control. So we tried that. And of course, it didn't work. And it continued to be this way really up until I was 26 years old, I think. Maybe I had my daughter at 24. No, I want to say 25. So around 25, I started changing a lot of things in my lifestyle. And that's when things finally got better. I remember having my first period where there was no pain and I didn't feel bad. And I thought, like, wow, how is this possible? Because you're supposed to feel bad, right?
Right. Well, no, not really. Not really. Yeah. Pain really is just a smoke alarm detector. I like to really call it that. You have a smoke alarm detector in your house. When it goes off, you don't just turn it off and say, oh, the batteries are wrong, we're going to switch it and we're going to leave it at that. No, you look for why is it on. There is something that turned it on. That's all it is. You don't. So that's what we do with our bodies when we have a sign of pain. And the crucial vital sign of a woman's health is actually our menstrual cycle. Fifth sign of health, for which way do I go? This way. Fifth sign of health for a woman is her menstrual cycle. So any type of discomfort during your menstrual cycle, we know perhaps we need to work on some things to get you to be better, you, healthier you, whatever that means for you. And I would hate for you to settle for what perhaps myself or Sierra had gone through, because at that time we maybe didn't know better, or we were not ready to take control of our health and maybe try some other things that were available to us. But perhaps somebody might have told you or me that that's taboo or that doesn't work. Why would I try that? That takes too much effort. Well, guess what, guys? Everything in life takes effort. And if you want something out of it, you got to put in yourself into it, right? Everything is an effort. Now, how much of it you want, that's up to you. And then you have consequences that you have to live with. One of them is maybe 5 days out of a month. For me, it was 10 days actually that I was like miserable, and I no longer want that, right?
Mm-hmm. Wow, 10 days is a long time.
10 days. Yeah, and it's like first 3 to 5 days, literally I'm in bed. I cannot tolerate light. I cannot stand on my feet. Like literally I'm in a ball like this, just trying to control the amount of pain that I'm in. Mm-hmm. And I did that till I was 24 years of age, because the only thing I knew at that time was birth control. Mm-hmm. For me, birth control did help with the symptomology. However, once I got myself off of those pills, all those things returned, because they didn't treat anything. They didn't fix anything. They just covered it. So I didn't get to see what was going on within me, right? Right. I was putting a blinds on myself because I couldn't deal with it, because at the time they didn't have any other solutions for me other than put the blinds on you and kind of live with it. Well, mm-hmm. I no longer want to have a blind on my face, because that's not the way to live. I want to bring my life by the horns, right? And be the driver of my own life. And that involves, how does my body express health?
Right, absolutely. So now I know you and I have talked before, and you said that you dealt with hormonal acne. And that was something that I dealt with a lot too, especially as a teenager. I had a lot of acne just right in this area. And sometimes when I would get my cycle, it would be all here. Mm-hmm. And then I would get the acne scars. And it was just an ongoing cycle of going through all of these issues every single month and wondering what the problem was and how I was supposed to fix it. And none of these things got better for me, even with the birth control, until I started taking control of my health and really looking at, what am I doing to my body? What is my body saying to me? And kind of what can I do to help, balance my hormones and get my gut health together. So I think that for a lot of females, they're dealing with these things and they don't know that they're all connected. If you're dealing with heavy periods and you're having issues with fibroids or ovarian cysts or hormonal acne, even if you have fibrocystic breasts, all of these things are connected. And, helping yourself by looking at your lifestyle can really change things if you want it to.
Absolutely. Yes. I did have a huge problem with acne. Yes. But I never had acne as a teenager. Mm-hmm. My face was glowy as a teenager. My first breakout was at the age of 24. And it wasn't like a pimple or two. It literally was these things that are like volcanoes sitting ready to erupt. Wow. I think they call, what do they call it? Pustule, something. There's a word for them where they have these awful pusses that are just ready to evacuate, but they can't. I mean, it was horrific. And then what I would do is I would literally pick on it and I would create some awful scarring.
Mm-hmm.
It was such a downtime for me, meaning it was hard for me to do anything, hard for me to see myself as a beautiful woman or somebody who even had a really good hygiene. You would look at somebody like that and they're like, oh my God, have they ever washed their face? Do they
Mm-hmm.
sleep with all their makeup on every night? And it's like, yeah, I never wear makeup. I washed my face with, at the time, it was Christian Dior, right? Christian Dior is still considered good cosmetic line, but even now I know that it's not the cleanest one, toxin-free kind. So I know that I was putting some stuff on my skin that perhaps wasn't doing me the best, but it was considered top of the line stuff that should have created some flawless skin, right? No, nothing. Then, of course, my diet. I come from Eastern Europe. So for us, if you don't have white bread on the table for your breakfast, for your lunch, for your dinner, you didn't have a meal. But
Mm-hmm.
one thing that I think helped a lot with that type of diet was movement. In my country, when I was being raised up to age of 15 years of age, we didn't have cars. Yes, we had cars, but our movements was going from one place to the other by foot. So we
Mm-hmm.
were extremely mobile. So I wasn't sitting all the time. I actually had a lot of expenditure that my body was needing at the time. But when I moved to the United States, that activity was probably cut by 75%, right? I had a yellow bus picking me up from my curbside to school.
Mm-hmm.
I was sitting all the time at the school. There was hardly any recess, hardly any PE classes. So my body just exploded and said, whoa, right? So for me, absolutely, it's partly your tradition is going to contribute to some of the things that you might be susceptible to. Mine was the fact that everything in our diet is white, meaning it's processed, right? White rice, white bread. That's just what I was born with. If you didn't have a potato on your table, you were like poor, considered poor.
Oh, wow.
So, and those are such bad foods to be eating every day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But our bodies didn't really display a lot of things because primary thing that was happening in our lives up to the age of 15, 17 for me was the movement. And guys, movement is actually superior to any diet that you can have. They go hand in hand, but if you don't have the movement, then that diet wreaks havoc like nothing in your life. So
Right.
that's when my body just said, whoa, we need to change something. So
Mhm.
Alex nowadays doesn't eat a lot of white bread. I mean, maybe I'll cheat on a Saturday and a Sunday because I still like my hazelnut spread on my white bread, right? Or my crepes.
Mhm.
But I now watch what I eat. Now I make sure that my acidity of my body or alkalinity of my body is what it needs to be so that I know that everything that I am doing is feeding everything internally so that every part within my body can properly communicate. Hence, the glowy skin. Hence, no period problems. Hence, you don't break out here and there when you are about to, that's your sign something is coming, right? In the
Mhm.
mail when you break out here. I barely ever have any of that anymore, with the exception of one right here today, and I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm gonna have to look at my diet for the last 3 months. And by the way, guys, Sierra knows this too.
Mhm.
Your period today actually is a reflection of your last 3 months of your lifestyle. So
Mhm.
when you want to really regenerate something, it really takes anywhere between 3 to 4, perhaps for some, even 6 months to really see how well is this going to work for us and what kind of changes we can see. I mean, even they say, pick up a habit and do it every day for 90 days in order for it to become an everyday occurrence. So yes, whenever you want to do something and it requires change, yes, it's going to take some repetition. It's going to take some adjusting. It's going to take some scheduling, right? Making sure that it's done every single day so that our body can learn that this is the new normal it's going to operate off of.
Right. That's really good. And a lot of times I feel like people quit before they actually see any results, especially
Absolutely.
when we're talking about doing things naturally. So with people, they want their diet or an herb to work the way that medicine works. Oh, if I start taking this herb today, I'm going to feel better tomorrow. If I change my diet today, I'm going to feel better tomorrow. If I exercise, I should see results in 2 weeks. It doesn't work that way, guys. You have to be consistent, and you really have to do what your body needs. What worked for me may not work for Dr. Alex because our bodies are different. But we know that generally things like white sugar, white rice, white bread, even white potatoes are not the best for you. And if you do eat white potatoes, make sure you keep the skin because the skin is the most nutrient dense part of the potato. But you want to be eating things, think about the rainbow. Eat things that come from the rainbow. You should have lots of colors on your plate, and you should be eating a lot of fruits and vegetables. And if you are eating meat, then you need to eat good quality meat. So those are some things that you can think about, but don't quit before you get to your results. Like she said, it could take 3 months for you, or you could be a person that needs 6 months. But if you stay consistent, then you will get there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, nothing happens overnight with the exception of, again, putting the blinds on and you don't see it. But the blinds are just blocking you from seeing something. Nothing has been fixed. So I want you to guys remember that. You have those blinds as an option. And even Sierra and myself, we sometimes still do that, guys, because we are maybe in the circumstance that requires that. But then we know how long is it really going to take our body to really get back to our true normal, which is, right, it's going to be quicker. It's going to be not as severe. So those are all the benefits of doing something consistently that actually is good for you, right? Because when you do fall and you reach for the bad stuff, right? Or the tempting stuff, or the ones that really taste good, right? That's what happens. You don't actually take as long to get back to your new normal, and it's much more enjoyable, and it's not as severe on the body. I mean, think of it as a part of the gym, right? You can work for 6 months, and then you have these 6 packs, you have the triceps, the biceps, right? Everything is great. And then you go on a vacation, and maybe you're enjoying yourself. So you have an extra cake too, and maybe just muscles are a little less pronounced, but it won't take you 6 months to establish that same quality of muscle that it took you prior to that vacation. It might take you 2 weeks. So again, what is it worth to you? Do you every 6 months want to start over, or do you want to actually keep that steady progress and build on it? And that's the question that's posed to you. And again, that's a choice you have to make, which is something that Sierra and I had to make on our own, but you have to make it yourself. Because guess what? Sierra and I, or any other person that is considered a doctor or a support for you, is not going to be able to do that for you, but you have to do that for yourself if these are the results you desire for yourself. So again, everything is in your hands. However much you want to take advantage of this and enjoy the benefits of it, then we can just kind of hop along the side of you and celebrate your results. So that way you can always have the right support to push you forward, right?
Right, absolutely. And sometimes we need help. So for me, I had to do a lot of research to heal my body. I didn't know what to do. Everyone that I knew was struggling with the same thing. Nobody had a pain free period. Nobody could tell me what to do. My mom said that that was her issue. My grandmother said that was her issue. Nobody could give me any type of answers or even try to help a little bit other than saying take Midol or find some Tylenol so that you can feel better. So it took me months to do research, and I had to figure out what worked for me. And then when I finally did, I started sharing the information with other people because I wanted them to be able to feel, good too. You don't want anybody else to struggle. They don't
Absolutely.
have to.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Let's see here. Really, we all have a choice in life. And then the question is, but with the choice comes responsibility of owning whatever the outcome becomes, right? And sometimes that's kind of the hard part where a lot of those things, it's like, well, if I can perhaps point a finger at somebody else, then maybe it's easier that way. But I have always been the person who kind of wants the responsibility for myself. I'm a Virgo by my horoscope, so I've always seek perfection. I'm very stubborn. If somebody tells me you can't do something, I sure will prove you wrong, right? Because it can be done. Will it be hard? Absolutely. Will you have challenges? Absolutely. But will you succeed? Yes, you will. So I think that's something that you always have to come back to. Whatever you want in life is there for you to grab and enjoy. Now, when will that happen? How quickly? And will it be without ups and downs? Nobody can promise you that because that's that's just life. That's just how things roll. But will you be able to achieve some of the results that I have achieved in Sierra? Absolutely. It may not be in, like I said, frequency that her and I might have achieved it, because again, what we did prior to starting our journey might not have weakened our system to the degree that you are in. It might have been stronger. We might have had circumstances that we are bringing with us from birth that we never resolved, that are affecting how we are actually transitioning into the next stage of our life. So all of those things actually play a huge role in how quickly somebody can rehabilitate to what Sierra and I know now is a norm and a new normal for where you can achieve real health, right? And it takes a little more than just traditional, perhaps, view of what health is. And for me, that transition started and began when I learned salutogenic model. And salutogenesis is literally translated into that which builds health. And that which builds health for me and for Sierra is good nutrition, good spiritual behavior towards whatever that is for you. We're not dictating what that should be for you, but whatever that is for you. How you behave towards yourself, right? How do you look at yourself in the mirror and see yourself? What you bring from your past experiences, right? Because we are very, very influenced by our parents. Whether we like it or not, what we stem from is what our parents know, what they taught us. And now it's up to us to decide, is that true? Because some of those things that we hold as our parents' thoughts and things that we consider as norm is actually not a norm. That's just an imposed limit that somebody from our past told us it's a limit. It's the truth, but it's not for you. And you have to discover that for yourself. And then, of course, sleeping, hydration, physical activity, right? Social life. Guys, if you don't have 5 close friends that you can go to and kind of just say, hey, let's go have a trip, or hey, I'm having a bad day, or hey, I've had a fantastic day, I want to share this with you. That is an area of your life that's actually eating your health away, because all of that is the definition of health. It's not just whether you have symptoms or not, but it's really how do you look at life in general. What is your relationship with your parents, with yourself, with your brother, your siblings? How quickly are you able to actually, snap out of a stressful situation? All that impacts how well you can recover from something, or how quickly the system is just going to break and symptoms are going to arise.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And then we have the emotional component of everything. So if you're holding a lot of emotions inside of yourself and you're not really dealing with these things, they can also impact your health and cause you to have some of these pains, or to, get some of these growths in your body, because you're not dealing with the emotions that go along with it. So we have to take a holistic approach in the way that we handle our bodies. You can't just say, I'm going to take I'm going to drink red raspberry leaf tea and hope that things change. That's not going to fix your problem. You can't just say, I'm going to start yoni steaming and everything's going to be okay. That's not going to fix your problem. You have to look at it holistically. Your person that you are is a complex being. There are lots of parts of you, lots of components, and you have to deal with them all if you want to truly be able to heal yourself, which is one of the reasons why Dr. Alex and I are doing this, because she can tell you a little bit more how chiropractic care can also help with a lot of these things as well.
Absolutely. So I want to get back something to what you just said. Yes, in order to really heal yourself, there are multiple aspects you have to integrate into your healing. But I think what both Sierra and I will admit to is it took the commitment to make the first step, to say, yes, I want to go through this journey. And then you started off with one thing that perhaps for me was getting rid of the birth control, no matter what the outcome was. For me, that was the first step at 33, when I said, no matter what, I am getting rid of this birth control, and we're going to handle whatever happens next. What happens next for me, guys, is I literally had pimples on my face for the next 3 years. My parents, when they would see me, they would tell me, Alex, go back on birth control. We can't look at you like that. And I would tell them no, because what you see here is an actual trajectory of toxins coming out. But when I don't see what's internally happening, that's a bigger problem for me. So I let my skin, because your skin is your biggest organ that is protecting you from bacteria. So when you are eliminating toxins, it's going to be the first one that you're going to see a lot of eliminations come through. And the way you would show that is through acne, through perhaps some skin issues. So all of that is detoxification. So for me, knowing that this process of showing things on my skin was an actual detoxification process really mattered. And I would look at myself and I would say to myself, this is the process to your healthier and glowier self. Even though my parents didn't understand what I was doing, but 4 years later, I can look at myself and say, you went through that. It wasn't easy, guys. I would go to the gym and I'm like, oh my God, every single mirror is around me, and you're looking at yourself and you look like crap. You feel like crap. You feel dirty, because it's like, how could this possibly be happening to me? Because I'm eating healthy. I am doing all the healthy things, but my body just needed that time to expel all of that accumulated toxins that it had. So again, time is crucial. You have to give your body the time that it needs. Now, for me, I started chiropractic at 27 years of age. Granted, at the time, like most of you, understood chiropractic as low back and neck pain because I was having some low back pain. I was constantly sitting at work. It was a cubicle with fluorescent lights. Never saw a natural light for almost 3 years. Was at the computer all the time, writing stuff down. So I was always hunched over. So my body literally was just at its maximum at the age of 27. Okay. That is horrible. Okay. So I went to a chiropractor and they changed my life. I have, first of all, hold a degree in chemistry. So for me, for those of you who know what Krebs cycle is, glycosylation, glycogenesis, right? Building the glucose chains, breaking down glucose chains, breaking down fats, building up fats. All of that is a process that sustains you. But in order for that process to happen, your nervous system has to properly direct it, right? And your nervous system is just this lovely highway of connections or highway of roads that is protected by your spinal, by your spine, right? Which are these hard shells that sit in the back, and they govern how well that information comes into the body and the brain, and how well can the brain disseminate the information that it needs. So if there's any problem with your spine, like low back pain, then we know that all other functions in your body are not doing the best for you. Because the low back pain is just telling us that communication highway is off. So your reproduction, your GI digestion, your respiration, your glowy skin, your elimination is just not doing the best it can for you. However, we see so many improvements in all of that. But my main goal when you come to a chiropractic office is always going to be to optimize the function of your nervous system. It's not to treat any symptom because, again, salutogenically, we don't really put a lot of preface or emphasis on what your symptom is. That's just telling us that you're not fully connected and communicating with yourself and your environment. And then we put a label on it. But when you look at things like, what else can I do? What more can I have? Then you start thinking about, then how do I get that? Well, you get that by ensuring that the thing that controls how you express your life is always at 100%. And that is your nervous system. So for me, during this entire time, I've been getting checked 3 times a week, guys. To me, that's how important my nervous system is, so that I can respond to anything that's happening around me. So again, I don't treat anything, but I do see some great results with migraines, with low back pain, with people who have had menstrual problems, with preventing colic, with preventing other things. I mean, if you take a look at what the Learning Institute says the problem with current learning or dyslexia or some of these problems is, it's actually the input and output from the brain. And the thing that controls your input and output is your spinal cord, your nervous system, and your spine. Okay? So can I make a change in somebody with dyslexia? Absolutely. But that's just meaning that I am restoring the proper communication, and then the body's able to properly self-regulate, and then dyslexia disappears. But is my intent to treat that? Absolutely not, because that's not my wheelhouse. we have medicine for that, and we all know how well they're doing there, right? So my thing is, let's just work on things that give you health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's amazing. I love how you worded things. We don't really want to focus on curing one thing, because when we have the proper communication within the body, everything is going to fall in line anyway.
Absolutely.
So I love that. And I want to thank you for sharing with us today. If anybody has any other questions about periods, feel free to drop them in the comments and we can come back and do another talk.
Absolutely.
Maybe next week if Dr. Alex is game.
I'm always game. You know me. I'm all about talking. Even though English is my second language, but we'll get through this. I promise.
You did a great job.
Well, thanks.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Have a
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Bye-bye, guys.
Bye.